Welcome back to my not so monthly at this point devlog. Do you know the very specific feeling when you spend a few days working on a level, you plan what if the player went here, what if you went there, what door leads where, and all that stuff. Then you finally somewhat finish it, and when you playtest it, you realize it's way too big. Where is everything? I literally just made it, and I am already confused about how to get where. Okay, but let's start in order. Since the last devlog, I gave the dream world its own weird light source, built dream islands for Envy and also for Sloth. Then I made a Labyrinth of Pride, and I made it so huge, I ended up getting lost in my own game. Let's get into it. First off, why is there a giant egg-shaped hole in the sky? The answer is simple. Shadows. They make everything in a 3D game look much better. But because this is a dream world, adding a normal light source like sun or moon felt boring. Dreams need things that don't really make sense. So a massive gaping hole in the sky acting as the main light source? That's perfect. Problem solved. So with the sky sorted, I started working on different nights. My plan is that each night in the dream world, player meets a different scene version of the main vampire girl. Each scene gets a unique island, a custom path, and a sky color that reflects their color theme. So night 1 is Envy with green sky, night 2 is Sloth with blue, and so on. For Envy, I made a path of twisting vines leading to an island covered in giant flowers and massive vines hanging off the edges. At the end of the path lies a shattered version of the guest room, with pieces of walls floating around and some ivy vines taking them over. I also added a mirror window here that acts like a normal mirror from the inside, but is see-through from the outside. Why? There was a point in time where I felt like I had to post some update or something about the game every few days, so I would just make up something simple really quick. But now I just record something when I actually have something to show and take it more easy. Maybe I'll be posting more when I start making money on YouTube, but that's probably a long time until then, especially with my current upload consistency. But let's get back to the Envy Island. Inside the broken room, sitting on a floating bed, is Envy. She's just sitting there, menacingly. And she'll be sitting there until I figure out what to do with her. My idea is that after meeting each scene, there's going to be some level or a minigame for the player to complete, like the Labyrinth of Pride. It will be a separate scene from the scene island. Then later I will connect those levels and islands with some story and have one scene chase the player or something like that. I haven't gotten there yet, so it's all things that could change if I come up with something better. Next was Sloth's Island. To get there, cross a bridge made out of pillows to reach an island where literally everything is made out of pillows. Well, maybe there are a few exceptions, but the trees, the rocks, fences, flowers, even the room walls, it's all made out of pillows. The only non-pillow items are the alarm clock, some furniture, sleeping cup and these things called star mobiles. Also, is it just me or star mobile is a weird name for this thing? Like, I never knew what it was called, so when I checked I was kind of surprised. Like, when I think of a mobile, I think of phones or maybe cars. And this thing, I mean, it's spinning, but I wouldn't call it very mobile. And while on the topic of cars and mobiles, take a look at the ship. At first, I just wanted to make a mechanic where the ship would jump over the fences. Instead, I accidentally made this thing. I found it funny how it just bounces off the ground like that while rotating the entire time and going over the fences. So I decided to leave it like that. And overall, I still need to do some work on the Envy's Island. Sloth's pillow setup I think looks really cool, but now by comparison, Envy feels a bit underwhelming. So I'll have to add some stuff or something there later. Next, I modeled the Pride version of my vampire girl, and I wanted to make her into a puppet. Her design has ball joints instead of normal joints, one big braid to the back, a purple dress that has slits on both sides, so the puppet hip is more visible, and she also has a crown floating above her head, with some strings coming out of it, connecting to her body. Also, fun fact, after exporting her, I realized I didn't give her any underwear down there. But it's probably fine. She's a puppet. What would she even need it for? It's not really something you would pay attention to, probably. Also, the lack of it is much more visible on the normal body model. The reason why I suddenly modeled Pride was because I wanted to add some Weeping Angel gameplay to my game. And among the scenes, only Pride felt thematically fitting for this kind of gameplay. So after finishing her, I found some tutorials on navigation and tried to figure out how to make this thing work. There are still some issues where she gets stuck on walls, but for now it's somewhat working. Then I made a labyrinth with some teleporters. From the starting point, you fall down a drop, you walk down a few corridors, and suddenly you're on the top floor. Basically, I wanted every door to lead somewhere. I didn't want to have doors that the players simply couldn't open. The problem is that, after spending a bunch of time setting it all up, I finally decided that the base layout is done and playtested it. Then I realized it's way too big. It takes forever to navigate, and I have yet to even decide what the player's objective is supposed to be in there. So step 1 for next month, shrink it to about third of its current size. To wrap it all up, I updated the main character, the player character. Well, actually, I had this model finished a few months ago, and I completely forgot about it. I just had it sitting in Blender because I never actually exported it. But anyway, for the differences, he now has shoes, a vest, lower poly hair, and I took off his mustache. I'm not really sure about this decision yet. Now that I think about it, I might make some kind of joke feature later on about mustaches. But anyway, this is not a promise. And I also redid his animations for walking, idle and crouch. It's a small upgrade because, again, I don't really spend much time on the player character because the only time you'll be seeing him is in the mirror. I'd much rather work on scenes models instead, since the player will be looking at them much more often. So, to recount everything at the end, we now have a sky hall, a pillow fort, not so okay ship, weeping angel puppets, and a labyrinth that's currently larger than your Next, I'll be cutting down the labyrinth size, work on making puppets puffing a bit better, then filling the labyrinth with more puppets to chase the player, then figuring out what the player should even be looking for in there, maybe also adding some flickering lamps in the hallways, just for the creepy atmosphere. So, if you wanna see how this game turns out, subscribe, leave a like, and let me know in the comments what the player should be looking for inside Pride's Labyrinth. Just don't say underwear, because I thought of it first. And thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next devlog. Bye.